Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Braden Timmons, and with The Conjuring Last Rites officially in theaters, you guys know what that means. It means it's time to sit down and rank every single Conjuring movie from the worst to the best. Which one is going to be the worst and which one is going to be the best. And as always, before I give my ranking, I want you guys to leave comments down below. Let me know what your guys' rankings are. Make sure that you guys subscribe and turn on notifications for all future videos. And of course, join the Nightmare Nation if you haven't had a chance to already. You could join by either becoming a Patreon member, free or paid, or you can be a YouTube member. I have been gifting YouTube memberships in live streams, so make sure that you guys subscribe and catch a live stream here. Introduce yourself. I'd be happy to meet you guys within a live stream. But today we are going to be ranking the Conjuring universe from the worst to the best. Again, make sure that you guys are leaving comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of the Conjuring universe. I cannot believe that there are literally 10 of these movies, man. 10, or almost 10, I should say. There are 9 Conjuring movies. A few of these I've only seen one time, and that's it. Maybe twice. But regardless, we're going to talk about these here today. Some of them are not as memorable as others. The franchise overall, it provides good jump scares, right? If you guys know anything about these movies, people like to go see them because it provides what we call haunted house scares. I like it for the family dynamics and for the scares, especially in the earlier movies. So those may be ranked higher on my list. So I look at these movies for the characters of Ed and Lorraine Warren, for the family dynamic within the families that they help, and of course the jump scares that come along with those. Those that have the haunted housey kind of scares, I don't necessarily tend to appreciate as much as some of you guys do, because I want a little bit more when it comes down to it. But regardless, let's get into this ranking, okay? I know that's exactly what you guys are here for. So yes, those of you that put time codes and stamps, you could say at 2:23 is when the ranking begins, because coming in at number 9 on my list is Annabelle, the first Annabelle movie. The one that was right in between The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2, came out in 2014. I remember seeing this movie opening night, and I was honestly excited. I was excited because Annabelle creeped me out a lot in the first Conjuring movie. So, you've got a really good demonic doll that is getting their own movie. What's there not to be excited about? Well, the story is incredibly flat. It's got some good haunted house jump scares. The scene when you see the demon on the bottom of the staircase is still burned into my brain. So that does have a memorable scene. It's got a few, actually, like when the little girl's in the room and then she runs down the hallway and bursts open and it's the adult woman. There's definitely some memorable scenes within the movie, but it's definitely my least favorite one of the entire franchise. So, if you guys like Annabelle, that's great. I'm so glad that you guys do, but unfortunately that one fell flat for me. So Annabelle comes in at number 9. Not too far behind it, at number 8, we've got The Nun, the first Nun movie. This was another one I was incredibly disappointed with. This movie came out in 2018. I was disappointed because this was supposed to be a really damn good start to the fall of that year. It's the same year that Halloween 2018 came out. And I do like The Nun. I think that the character is great. Her introduction in The Conjuring 2 is amazing and definitely became one of the most iconic parts of the Conjuring universe just from her brief appearance in The Conjuring 2. So when that character was going to be getting their own movie, I was naturally excited. Again, story kind of falls very flat. The movie's only 90 minutes long, and it is very jump scare heavy. That's really all The Nun has to offer as a film, is really just those haunted house like scares. The opening is pretty solid with the nun taking their life, and then Valak is walking down that hallway. Very, very well shot cinematically, but it doesn't have much to offer other than that. So, the Nun is at number 8 for that reason. Behind that one at number 7 is Annabelle Comes Home, another very haunted house jump scare kind of movie. The Warrens are in that one briefly because their daughter is one of the main focuses when a babysitter has to, babysit her. And of course, she ends up going into their room of collectible demonic items. And that's where that movie ends up going. I only saw that movie one time. That's one of them that I've only seen one time. I don't remember a whole lot about the movie. If I'm being completely honest, I know that the Warrens are in it briefly in the beginning. I'd have to rewatch it, but I remember this felt like, from what I remember, a good spot to put it on my list. Simply with the fact that the story, again, was just very lackluster, other than providing the haunted house jump scares and everything like that. Coming in at number 6 for me is The Nun II. And The Nun II, definitely a step up from the first Nun movie. It had a little bit more substance. Valak was a little bit more intimidating in the second Nun movie. We obviously know how her story ends in The Conjuring 2, so both Nun movies are prequels to that said film. Characters were more likable. There was more of a story with Sister Irene. And I thought that there was a lot more substance there in terms of well-crafted scares. Especially that opening scene. Like, the reveal of Valak in The Nun 2 is absolutely incredible. Incredible. The opening alone gave this the spot that it's at on my list. I think that The Nun 2 is a well-deserved, crafted horror sequel that really does surpass the original one based on just a better story, better cinematography, better scares, all that stuff. So The Nun 2 comes in at number 6. Bringing us to our top 5, we got The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I think that this movie could have been absolutely incredible, but it suffers from, having a really, really strong opening and then bringing us into a story that I feel like nobody really gives a shit about. The family wasn't as strong in The Devil Made Me Do It as it was in The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2, which is definitely why I feel like people tended to not enjoy this one as much as the others. The scares weren't all that great. This was the first movie that Michael Chavez came in to direct, stepping in for James Wan. Previously, he had directed The Curse of La Llorona, which, again, the scares in that movie, they don't feel very earned. They're not great. So, the Devil Made Me Do It, I feel like really suffers from not having that characterization that you really wanted from, like, with Ed and Lorraine Warren, absolutely you do. I mean, Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, not a weak element of this franchise in the slightest. In fact, they make every movie better that they are in, including Annabelle Comes Home. Like, the opening with them in it, from what I remember, great stuff. But, when you've got the family characters that you are supposed to really care about along with them, and they're not firing on all cylinders, that's where the movie kind of falls flat and you just don't really care. And when the scares don't feel as strong as they had been previously, of course, the movie is going to fall a little bit more flat. So The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It falls into that trap, and for that reason, that is where it's at number 5. Bringing us to number 4 on the list is The Conjuring Last Rites. Very good conclusion to the Conjuring story. I think that this was emotional. I feel like if you are one of those emotional type of fans where you realize that the end of something is coming, then you're probably going to be hitting the feels, especially at the end of the movie. The end of this film is absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10. I love the final two scenes of this movie. It was great and of course, light spoilers. Well, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, that's your warning right there. So if you don't want to know, click away. Seeing all of the families that the Warrens have helped at their daughter's wedding was amazing. And seeing James Wan there was even better. Just a 10 out of 10 emotional moment that, fans can absolutely appreciate. Wonderful, wonderful ending to a really solid outgoing for Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren. So no complaints there. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. But as a movie, the ending does kind of fall flat for me. The final boss demon, I feel like, was defeated incredibly too quickly. I feel like that there was a lot going on with, their daughter when they got to the main family. As we're getting introduced to the Smurl family in the beginning of the movie, I think that's all good stuff. I actually felt as if I was watching one of the earlier Conjuring movies, for a good bit there. And then really once the middle hit, I like that Ed and Lorraine Warren and their family was a focus, but I feel like that unlike other Conjuring movies where it's like you've got story A, story B, this one kind of felt like it was very inconsistent with what kind of story they wanted to tell. And it was almost as if they were just trying to get it to where the Warrens were eventually going to come in to help the Smurls, because when we meet the Smurls, I like that dynamic. I like the shots. It felt very much as if James Wan would have directed a scene. There's a one take going through the house, introducing the family, very much like Wan does in the first Conjuring movie. So it was kind of a nod to that and kind of pulled from that memberberry tree and whatnot. Very much enjoyed that, but I feel like as the movie continued, it started to rely more on jump scares than it did the characters with the Smurls. And then when the finale started, the Smurls were kind of pushed completely aside, and it was just the Warrens. That's really what my problem was with The Conjuring Last Rites. And I said this in my review as well, but still a very good send-off for the Warrens as characters. So it's not that I did not like Last Rites, because I did. It's in my top 4, but I feel like that there could have been things that could have been done better to make it a more satisfying finale. But at the end of the day, in terms of the characters, the Warrens, very good send-off, and they're absolutely going to be missed. Bringing us to number 3, my boy David F. Sandberg is getting some love with Annabelle Creation. I think Annabelle Creation is very much like the Nun II, a step up in terms of sequels, even though it's technically a prequel in every single way. Great characters, great jump scares. The ending twist with it connecting to the first Annabelle movie was freaking outstanding. I mean, this is a great haunted housey kind of horror movie across the board because you've got good characters, good scares, really good direction, very well-crafted sequences. I mean, this is what you want in one of these movies, man. That's what you pay your ticket to see. And when it doesn't deliver on every element, these movies can kind of fall flat. So, but if you like the haunted house jump scare types of movies, then you guys are probably going to rank films like The Nun and Annabelle Comes Home, and maybe even the first Annabelle, which is in last place for me, higher than I would. And that's okay. That's your list, but this is my list, guys. So that's really about it. So Annabelle Creation comes in at number 3 for that reason. I very much like what David F. Sandberg brought to the franchise. This was his sophomore Hollywood film coming off of Lights Out, which I also very much enjoyed. So, he had 2 really good, very well-crafted horror movies, and Annabelle Creation was absolutely one of those. So that's number 3 for me. Okay, now there's no secret that The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 are the top of the franchise. However, which one is the best? Now, right now, today, I have The Conjuring, the first one, at number 2. However, that can flip at any given day with The Conjuring 2 because I love both of these movies. The Perron family are all amazing. I mean, you really do get a sense of characterization with them. The scares, this was a movie that I saw in high school in theaters, and the scares are outstanding. Bathsheba, the demon and the witch, all that stuff is just wow. I mean, James Wan really did a great job with The Conjuring. Amazing on all levels, but in my eyes, guys, The Conjuring 2, the Enfield case is my favorite of the entire franchise. I think The Conjuring 2 is bigger, it's better. The introduction of the Nun, which became one of the most iconic characters just off of reshoots. I love how it opens with the Amityville case, and then it transitions into the Enfield case. And I mean, again, both of these movies have really good families, really good characterization, really good, very well-crafted scares, very much like Annabelle Creation does, which is, you know, why I like these a lot more than some of those that rank lower on my list and everything, because these tend to fire on all cylinders and tend to bring out, you know, the heart of storytelling and why you should care about these characters when a demon is going after them. You know, so there's a lot to like about these movies. There's something really for everybody, every kind of horror fan within this franchise. You know, if you want those haunted house jump scares, you're going to get those in essentially every movie. But if you also want good characters and good cinematography and a good story along with all that stuff, then you're absolutely going to get those in a lot of the earlier movies and any movie really with the Warrens in terms of characters. With the story, some of it is a little more messy than the others, but regardless, there's something for, I feel like, every sort of horror fan within this franchise. So that's how I rank the Conjuring franchise, guys. And with all that being said, post your guys' comments down below. Let me know, what do you guys think of the Conjuring universe? I'm curious to see how you guys rank these movies. Do you guys like these movies, and are you guys looking forward to seeing Last Rites if you haven't had a chance to already? Whatever those thoughts are, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you guys like this, don't forget to join this channel on its journey to 25,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys in my next video.